Dear Aunt Flo is a podcast about bad periods, and I'm your host, Elisa Michelle. Every month, we'll dive deep into my own vagina monologues as I discuss my journey with endometriosis and share stories that we wish someone would have warned us about sooner. I am your new period BFF, so let's get comfortable speaking about our cycles. Welcome to the first official episode of Dear Aunt Flo. I honestly can't believe I'm brave enough to share all that I'm about to share with you guys. Somebody's got to do it, right? So here we are. I also feel like I should have a catchphrase. Does anybody watch that show, A Million Little Things? There's a character named Maggie. She's like a psychiatrist or psychologist, but she has a radio show where she has this cool catchphrase that's in the room with Dr. Bloom. And I think it's so cool. I want one. I would like a catchphrase. So if you have ideas, send them to me. I'm so open to hearing them. I think we should try to get a catchphrase for Dear Aunt Flo. We'll work on that. In the meantime, let's start with a couple of housekeeping items. One, I'm going to preface each episode with I am not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV. So everything you hear from me is out of experience, personal experience. It is out of whatever I have researched on my own time, in my own way. I will try to reference where I got information from in the show notes, if it's necessary, if it's applicable. But other than that, don't come for my non-existent medical degree, okay? I don't have one. I will not be getting one. So this is all literally just from my life. And that's just what it is. Second housekeeping thing is this is a podcast about menstrual cycles. We are going to be talking about our periods. We're going to be talking about our vaginas, our uteruses, our fallopian tubes, all of it. All of it. If you have one, if you have had one, if you will have one, I welcome you to this safe space. If you don't have one, but you are a partner or a friend of someone who does, and you just need more information, I also welcome you to this safe space. What I will not tolerate is those who don't experience a menstrual cycle, and even those who do, shaming or degrading those who do. There will be no hateration in this holleration, okay? So if you're in the comment section or the Q&A section and you leave anything other than love, be blessed somewhere else because you will be blocked here. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I am going to be starting each episode reading one short letter to Aunt Flo that I wrote. So this will mostly probably be me writing her a letter about last month's cycle or something that's currently happening as a cause. But either way, I'm going to start each episode off reading one letter. I'd love to get to a point where I am sharing your letters. So if you're interested, look out for that information. I will try to have submissions open for that. But yeah, I want this to be a collaborative community, okay? I want us all to share our stories because even though we're experiencing similar things, we're all different. Feel me? So here's my letter to Dear Aunt Flo. Dear Aunt Flo, you shady hoe. I'm just kidding. Kinda. Dear Aunt Flo, this past month was a doozy. I truly thought we were on a new path for 2024. I started taking new supplements. I've been moving every single day, even if it's only for 10 minutes some days. But you don't seem to care what I do for you. Also, if you could stop coming on the weekends, that would be great because I have a life that needs to be lived. Sincerely fed up, Elisa Michelle. Okay, let's get into today's episode. We are going to kick this podcast season off with my story about endometriosis, my journey with endometriosis. There will be a lot of TMI, so beware. If you're fine with that, keep listening. If you're not, please exit stage left because this is not for you. We are going to get intimate with our bodies, folks. So if that is your jam, let us begin. The year was 2018, the month was October, and the cycle was never ending. So I essentially had my period from October 2018 through November 2018. Like nonstop type periods. So I had it came, and it stayed. And I made a doctor appointment to get checked out because by week 3, I was like, I should not still be bleeding. What's happening? And if you guys are aware, there sometimes is a little chart that goes around with the different colors of our period blood. I went from the ketchup stage straight to the barbecue sauce stage. So I was a little freaked out. Now, mind you, like I hadn't been sexually active, so I had no like concern there that something was going on. My first thought was like, oh, she got cancer. Like that's it. Like I'm done for, and there's no other reason why I'm still bleeding on week 3, and it's not even red anymore. It's brown. And like, what does that mean? And don't go down. I know we all know this, but do not go down the WMD, Mayo Clinic, whatever other links that are out there, rabbit hole. It's not worth it. It's not good for your anxiety. It's not good for your health, your mental health, emotional health. It's not good for your physical health, clearly. But anyway, I digress. I made a doctor's appointment. I called to make a doctor's appointment, and I was hit with someone can see you in about 6 months. And I was like, lady, in 6 months, I prayerfully won't have this happening anymore. Needless to say, a little trick tip. If you call back the following week or 2 weeks later and ask if there are any cancellations, 8 times out of 10 there will be, and you can get seen sooner. So that's what I did, and I was able to get an appointment within a week or 2. At this point, it was just still barbecue sauce, but like just spotting. Like I was just spotting, so it wasn't like a huge deal anymore. And I was like, well, great. Of course, now I'm getting seen, and like now there's nothing to show for it. So of course, the doctor was extremely dismissive, and she pretty much told me that this is normal and it happens all the time, and there's nothing I should be worried about, but I'll still give you a pap smear and we'll see what's happening. So I went through the motions, got all the things looked at and checked out, and when I went back for my follow-up, I was done bleeding by then. I think it was like a week or 2 later, finally. Hallelujah. All my results came back normal. Nothing was wrong. And she was just like, if it happens again, come back. And I was like, okay. But in my head, I was like, I'm not coming back to you because you pretty much told me nothing was wrong with me. So needless to say, a week later, guess who got their period? Because at this point, it had been 4 weeks. So I went through a month cycle. I went through that 28-day cycle. And day 28, day 29, she was like, hello, I'm back. Did you miss me? And I was like, no, I did not miss you, but here you are. So I was back on my cycle again. Now we're into November. And I will never forget, I had a wedding to go to. I had to fly out to Virginia for my now husband's best friend's wedding. And I get there, I tell him like, hey, I've been on my cycle for like 3 weeks now. It is what it is. I feel okay, I think, but like mentally, That's up in the air. um, but we get to the wedding and everything's going great. We're dancing, we're having a good time. I get back to the table and I'm about to sit down, and all of a sudden I feel this gush, like this huge just gush come out of my body, and I froze. I like freaked out inside internally because I was like, holy crap. I'm pretty sure all of the blood in my body just came out of my body, and I don't want to move because I don't know where it's going to go. Now, mind you, I had a tampon on, I had a pad on under it, but I was still like unsure if it breached the system. Okay. So I fast track it to the bathroom, and I get there and there's the cone and the sign that says women's bathroom closed for cleaning. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. We're at a wedding. There's no one else here. It's not like a open forum space. Like, it's a private event. Like, why would you close the women's bathroom? So I fast track it back to our table, and I tell my husband, I'm like, hey, I need your help. I was like, this is like DEFCON 5, SOS, carry, like blood everywhere. Okay. I was like, I need you to check the men's bathroom, see if there's anyone in there, and then stand guard outside while I get my stuff together. So he does, because he's a sweetheart and I love him so much. So we go to the men's room. I get all my stuff together, and I go in there, and literally the blood was so much that it pushed my entire tampon out, and there, like, my pad was full. So I'm freaking out because I think that I'm dying, and I have to like just clean myself up, put on new things, and go back out like nothing ever happened. And I don't wish that upon anybody. It's so embarrassing, for one. And then two, like, you're just having this whole like mental like tug of war, like what is actually happening to my body. And at this point, like, it freaked me out so much where I was just like, okay, like once I get back to California, like I need to find a new doctor. I need to figure out what's happening. So that's what I did. When I got back, I made an appointment with a new doctor, and this doctor was like, oh, okay, let's get you an ultrasound. And I was like, wait, action, something's happening. What? This is new for me. I'm a little scared because you're listening to me and you're actually doing things to make things happen. Okay. We're making progress, kids. We're making progress. So we get the ultrasound done. I go back in for the follow-up and for the results. And she tells me that it shows that I have one polyp on my uterine lining. Just one singular polyp is causing all of this hell. And I was like, okay, that's an answer. She says we can either wait it out and see if it goes away, or I can opt to do an outpatient surgery called a hysteroscopy, where they go in and pretty much just scrape your uterine lining to get rid of it, and that's that. And then you can go home and recover. And I was like, I don't want to bleed anymore, so give me the surgery, please. So I did that. And at this point, it had been about a year, because I didn't have the surgery till September 2019. So I had the surgery, and editing Elisa here forgot to mention that even though the ultrasound caught one polyp, they removed 6 during the surgery. They say in about 3 months or so, 3 cycles or so, it should clear up and I should be back to normal cycles, which I believe happened. I can't fully remember at this point, but I think that's what happened. But through all of that bleeding, I was also experiencing the most intense pain that a person can have. Listen, I have never given birth, but I promise you, I believe that I gave birth every single month for the past 4 or 5 years at this point, because it is just excruciating pain every single month. It's debilitating. It's indescribable. I don't even know how to grasp or explain to you the all-encompassing pain that you experience with endometriosis. I was in a very stressful job. I had to call out of work every month. I would have intense cramping like a few days before my cycle and then a few days into my cycle. So I was just couch ridden and bedridden for like the first 4 days of my cycle every single month. I had digestive issues, which anytime that I went to see a doctor about, I would just get diagnosed with IBS. I changed my diet a million times. I was gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, food-free, because what could I possibly eat that would not cause me to be in the bathroom or cause me inflammation and bloating? Oh my goodness, the bloating and inflammation was insane. Like the littlest thing I would eat would just cause this crazy flare-up, and I would just be couch ridden or bathroom ridden, because really the bathroom was my second home, is my second home. Let's just call it what it is. I at one point found another doctor. Wait, let's back up. So the doctor that got me the ultrasound ended up not doing the surgery because I got a call the night before my surgery and to say that she had to take an unexpected leave of absence. And I was like, oh no, like why now? But they said, but you can opt to have her colleague do it. She'd be in really great hands, And I was like, okay, that's fine. So went through the surgery. Fast forward back to now, or back to where I was. So that doctor told me to take ibuprofen 2 days before I get my cycle so I could catch the inflammation before it started, before it caught me, essentially. And I looked at her and I was like, that doesn't work. And she gave me another suggestion and I was like, that doesn't work either. And then she said, okay, well, she's like, well, I get cramping and I just take ibuprofen. You can follow it up with Tylenol to take them both, and then my cramps go away. And at this point, I've tuned her out because to give you a visual, I'm a black woman, a young black woman in my 30s. She was a white woman, probably in her 40s. And I looked at her, and at that point, she was just like, okay, I'm sorry. She's like, I hear you. She's like, I'm not saying that you're not in pain, and I'm not saying that I don't believe you. I'm just saying that if you do the things that I just told you to do that you said don't work, it will work. And I was like, lady, like, what game are we playing here? So anyway, I stopped seeing her and I found another doctor, and she suggested that I try birth control. Now, I am going to do a whole episode on birth control, but for the sake of today's story, I listened and I opted for the birth control because she said that I can stifle it. And what this means is that you get the pack. You usually get like 3 months worth at a time, if not more. But you do a pack, and when you get to the end of that pack, before you start the placebo pills, which is when your cycle would come, you skip that and you just start a new pack. And this skips your cycle so that you won't have your period. And for me, I was like, no period means no pain and no excessive bleeding. Sign me up for that. Never again, okay? I did that for about a year, off and on, because she said every 3 cycles or so, I should let it come. And every time I did that, it was hell. It was pure hell, because when you're not having your cycle, like, where does it go? Like, what happens to it? Because it's still there. Yeah, don't try this at home, kids. Anyway, I tried acupuncture. I changed my diet some more, but ultimately the pain never subsided, and each month was worse than the last. New symptoms would pop up. I had butt cramps, which I don't wish upon anyone, and I did not know that these things existed. But apparently you can get cramps in your booty, and they're not fun. I had constipation constantly, whether I was on my cycle or not. I was still having, pelvic cramping, brain fog, nausea. Oh, the nausea was the worst, because I was so hungry. I wanted to eat, but I couldn't eat because I was so nauseous because I was in so much pain. Insomnia, can't sleep because you're in so much pain, and so you can't sleep it away. There are just a million things that go on every month that I felt should not be happening, and they were. And it's not fun. I don't wish it upon anybody. I even had a doctor. Did I say this already? I had a doctor try to prescribe or try to tell me to go to a mental health specialist or a psychiatrist so that they could prescribe me anxiety meds. And I was like, is this a joke? I was like, I don't have anxiety. I was like, I'm literally telling you I'm in pain because it's actually happening to me. I'm not anxious about the pain. I'm in the pain. Anxiety meds are not going to help my period cramps. But she, for some reason, was like, oh no, it's a known thing. People take anxiety meds because they say that it lessens their period cramps. And needless to say, that was the last time I spoke to her too. I went through so many doctors in the past 4 years. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I think we'll stop here because it's a lot. So listen, if you are experiencing anything close to what I described, please find a doctor, preferably one who advocates for you. If you don't feel comfortable going alone because you're introverted like myself and you don't think that you could speak up for yourself, take someone with you. Take a friend, a partner, someone trustworthy with you that will fight your battles for you, because that is A1, friend. But definitely get checked out, okay? You know your body, and if you think or feel like something is wrong, it's always best to get checked out. Always listen to your body, and give as much detail as you can, because the more they know, the more they can help. I am going to end each episode with an affirmation. You are welcome to recite it with me after I say it, and then take it with you as you go into the rest of your day or week or month. But I think as we kind of start with the letter, whether it's a happy letter or an angry letter, I think we should always end with intention, and an affirmation is the best way to do that. So, in the slightly remixed words of India Irie, my affirmation for this episode is, I am not my uterus. So say it with me. I am not my uterus. Okay. I thank you for listening. I thank you for being here. I thank you for taking steps to know and understand your body. I thank you for taking steps to be aware and intentional with getting the community that you need around your menstrual cycles, because we're here together, friend. We are BFFs for life. I know I just said like the same thing twice, but that's okay. Yeah, it's so important to just have that space and sense of community to talk about these things, because no one else is. And we've been around for a while. Women have been around for a while, okay? And we need to talk about what's happening with our bodies, especially when things don't feel right. As there's always someone else out there that, may be experiencing the same things, and we can help each other. Okay, so I love you. I see you. I hear you. And I will see you in the next episode. Peace.